Well, how's it going today? So horrible sheet metal work. So what I've got here is this is an old Bud chassis. This is actually what they call an amplifier foundation, and there's a kind of a nice cover that goes on there. It looks real kind of Art Deco, even though these were built in the '60s, and they were probably like $10. Anyway, what I'm going to do here is this one. It looks like gangland violence has occurred here, and there's holes everywhere in this thing. This one I can reuse. This is so screwed up that I can't position any of the components I want to put on there, so I've just given up. The front's the same way, and actually I need to get out my hammer and kind of fix it. This has got a bow here and a bow here. And it looks like this has been dropped, and a number of these mountings are they're pulled or tore. So what, I just said to heck with it. I'm just going to get rid of it. And what I've done is I've drawn a line here with one of those silver Sharpie markers, and I'm just going to cut this out. I've got this jigsaw. This is a DeWalt. This is a DC. What is that? A DC 330. It's a portable, battery powered. And I'm just going to cut that perimeter out there, and I've left a little lip around this edge, and then what I'm going to do is find a piece of metal to cover this whole thing, and then use that lip as an edge to mount the metal and put, I don't know, 3 or 4 small screws or pop rivets or sheet metal screws. I haven't decided yet, and I've just been screwing around. So what I've got here is I've got a pretty fine, make sure turn that off. This is a pretty fine bit. This is a Bosch sheet metal bit, and it has a lot of teeth in it, and the finer toothed saber saw bits or jigsaw bits are for that. So I'm just going to try and gnaw my way through this and see how this works. I'm kind of at a disadvantage here. I really don't have enough adequate lighting to really see what's going on, but this isn't a precision operation. As long as I kind of stay in the line, I think I'll be okay. And I've got some nice hearing protection on. I wear pretty heavy-duty glasses. They don't have side shields on them, but I don't know. I've made it this far without poking my eye out, except for one time. So I'm just going to trim that out. I'm just going to let the good times roll. So I've got my hearing protection on, so I've probably gotten a lot louder now. This, I don't know how long this should take, about 5-10 minutes. What I've done here is, let me take these off. I'm just I should have just drilled some holes in the corners to hold, but I'm getting kind of lazy here, so where's that at? Right there. I'm basically just taking a lot of little slices to get around that corner, and I'll true it up with a file. This is going way faster than I thought. So there you go, we're done. And I don't know, I'll probably throw that away. There's the actual Bud logo. Okie dokie, so get over here, get a few things. So we got this chassis cut out now. And what I've done here is I went to the local home center, and some of these places actually sell little pieces of steel, aluminum, expanded metal, perforated metal. It's kind of a do-all, craft-all. They used to sell a lot of this stuff years ago anyway. Since metal is such a foreign concept, people don't know what to do with it, and the stores don't stock it. Anyway, this happens to be just some, this is probably just some, I don't know, this is probably some cold rolled. This is 22 gauge, it's 12 by 12, and it just happens to be the exact right width for that chassis. But I do need to cut off about 7 inches this way. So we'll get out the old jigsaw here. Anyway, these blades have got 36 teeth per inch. These are, I think these are about as fine as you can get, short of actually getting these blades that have like carborundum or carbide type grits. So the finer the blade, the thinner metal you can cut. And this stuff is getting down there. This is about a 1/64 of an inch. Now I did get some 30 teeth per inch bits, but I'm a little bit hazy on that, so we'll give this a try. Anyway, basically in a nutshell, I just need to mark off 7 inches and just slice right straight across, and hopefully this won't be too nasty. The edge isn't going to be super great, but and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in maybe about a 1/16 of an inch from the 7 inches. I can't remember if mine's to work. Focus. So I marked that, and keep in mind that when I drew this mark, technically that distance, let's say this is really exaggerated. Say this is your mark, this big wide thing. The way I measured that, this edge is the distance you want to cut. So this isn't a precision operation, so I'm just going to cut this just right down. Actually, I'm going to cut it on this side of the mark, and then file it up true. And I put a little X here to let me know that this is the waist. So we'll trim that up and see what happens. Well, so that was pretty easy actually, and I am extremely grumpy about this deal. Not about this. This came out excellent. Mr. Burns excellent. That's how excellent it came out. I just showed you those Sabersaw blades I bought. I set them down. I have no idea where they went to. I think wherever all the left socks go. Anyway, this has got a little bit of kind of, what I'm saying, wee-wah to it, but not much. And I've taken a file and draw file that, do a little mill work there, a little file work. Anyway, I would have thought that then, now that I'm done, those blades would appear. That's kind of pisses me off, to be really blunt. Just a little bit there. What I need to do is go over that again with my ruler and just scribe it to the low point, so then I can file that down. Or I could sand it or use a belt sander, or I may just leave it alone. It really isn't that horrible. So anyway, this baby just sits on there just so it hangs over a tiny bit. Well, it doesn't hang over. It's flush with the edges, but because of the way this is made, well, that actually might be because of that. Anyway, it's not perfect, but it's better than a poke in the eye, and certainly better than spending the whatever psycho amount of money they want for a damn little radio chassis anymore. Man, those things have got expensive. I gotta find a sheet metal brake. I really want a box and pan brake, but they aren't that cheap. Although the money I would save in making little cases would be quickly retrieved. And out of all the people I know, I don't know anybody with any sheet metal working tools. Nobody does it. So you think I'd know somebody that did ducting or duct work, or I don't know. What really irritates me is years ago, every school in the district here had shop, and some brainiac decided shop wasn't needed anymore, so all the mill tools and all the metalworking tools and all the woodworking tools got sold off at some stupid auction. And guess who was asleep at the switch when that happened? Good old me. So all that nice, even though it was well used metalworking stuff, it probably could have been better than nothing. Right now I've kind of got a here at Caveman Industries, when it comes to metalwork, you use the tools you got. So now, in a nutshell, I don't know what to do about this. This was the power cord, and it's just, ugh. I don't know what I'm going to do exactly about that. I might just board it up with some, what I could do is, I cut that top out, it had wrinkle paint on it. I could do that and just make a little plug. Anyway, I'm going to mount this probably here. And, well, actually, I think I'm going to mount it over here and start from this end. The reason being is the top, which isn't here, has a big meter in it, and there's no reason to have a meter in this power supply other than to use it, and B, because it had a huge hole in the top of this chassis, and I'm just plugging it up. It was kind of there, and it looked and C, it looks cool and hip. So I'll put this transformer here. There's a couple chokes, and then a little baby circuit board. This thing is way too big for the parts I have now. If I'd used the original parts I had, it came out of this chassis, it'd actually be a little tight, but those parts are pretty heavy duty, and I think I will save them for a rainy day. There's a couple pretty nice chokes and a power transformer and an actual multi-tap filament transformer, and it's more probably more geared toward a nice transmitter or a really spiffy heavy duty power supply. And I'm trying to make this off of all junk I've just got floating around, and this will be fine. This will go right there. And if I'm really brave, I might find some chassis mount caps and make it. I don't know. Nobody's gonna see this, so I'm getting too fancy. I'm already too lazy to go buy a new chassis, and I'm rambling. That's the best part. So what do we need to do now is I need to get out my file, trim these edges. Actually, there's only one edge. Knock that burr off of there, and then kind of figure out where my screws want to go. I think I'm going to put 2 screws or holes for those little pop rivet thingies. Yeah, they're called pop rivets, and maybe 3 for here. So that'd be 6. That'd be 10. That might work pretty good. And this metal isn't super thick, but it's reasonably thick. And in this foundation, it'll be just fine. Well, let me do a little layout here, and we'll see how this comes out. Okie dokie. Focus. There we go. So this is an old Philco chassis I had laying around in storage, and I think it's about reached the end of the road here. It was in bad shape when I got it, and what I've done is I just went ahead and cleaned the tubes out. The socket might go bye-bye. It's just a basic kind of AM shortwave set. And it's seen better days. There's still a few usable goodies in there, but before I get rid of it, I might... apparently we used to make stand-up caps. That one's dented. That's too bad. I don't know. Better than nothing. What I'm going to do is use this as a layout to transfer this over to here. Do you like that? Anyway, I'm just going to transfer these dimensions so I know how to trim that out. And this transformer only uses these inner holes here, and it doesn't use these edge ones, so I'm going to get off pretty easy. If I trim it just a tiny bit small, I can use the file, do a little mill work, open that hole up enough till that transformer drops in there nice and snug. Anyway, so I kind of punch these holes in the corners so I can use this kind of unibit or step bit to open that up a little bit more and make that big enough for the jigsaw blade to go in there. Had I been really cool and hip, I would have laid that out so I could have used this and made a nice rounded corner, but actually this transfer, this hole, is pretty loosey-goosey in there, so I relayed it out a little bit. Basically I came in a tiny bit. That's what these thicker lines are. If I stay inside the thicker line and then file out to it, some settling of contents may occur. It should come out pretty good. So we'll get that opened up a little bit. What the hell are they doing up there? Jesus. Okay, so a few well-placed taps later. I need to iron that out. There's a little bend there I screwed up, but anyway, so I just trimmed that out with the jigsaw and then filed it a tiny bit and then punched those two holes, the little ears. I don't know if I showed you the original one or not. I think I did. Two ears in there. Mine fits. It doesn't look beautiful, like a nice punch, but yeah, I need to open this edge up just a scotch. But it's in there straight. That's what counts. You know, if everything looked like a machine shop did it, then we'd know it was homemade and wouldn't have any fun. So I'll probably take this cover off and the other cover maybe and repaint that. If I'm really feeling adventurous, I don't know. I might just leave it alone. I might just spray paint it black. And this will get painted. I'll paint this with something. I've still got some of that wrinkle paint from another project, and I'll pre-paint that. Strip that off there. Sharp edges. Okay. So anyway, there's where we're at. All I have to do now is mount two little baby chokes, and that kind of depends on where I mount that circuit board. That circuit board is literally about this big. This, like I said before, this project box is way too big for this thing. You know, the really nice thing about this is if I'm careful and plan ahead, let's say I get rid of this, I can just take this top off and machine and just mill a new, whatever, fabricate a new lid and just start right back at it again, as long as I don't butcher the sides too much. This one side looks like gangland violence has occurred, but you know what? I can get that fixed, just like we fixed the top. I can either put a plate over it, which I've still got some of that metal, or I was thinking about maybe a cool little hip wood front, maybe to look a little more, I don't know, cool and hip. That's the thought, anyway. So anyway, there's where we're at. One thing I did discover is that metal is thin enough with this nibbler. If you've ever seen a nibbler before, it's sort of a little punch. The metal goes in that slot and it's tapered, and it basically just closes and peels a little tiny sliver, for lack of a better word, out of there. You can nibble those things. Trust me, I've done it. And your one hand gets, it's like using those exercise things. You get pretty muscly and damn tired fast. But it can be done, so don't be afraid to do it. And I don't know, you could use this bigger nibbler. Although that little one seems to go faster. This one's kind of, I don't care much for it. So again, just a little, all I used was my drill and the saber saw. I found those blades, I showed you that. I used those. They really don't seem to make much difference. I'm a little disappointed. I thought it would go faster. And a file in the basic T-square and Sharpie for layout. And this is where we're at. Like I said, there's a top for this. So let me know what you think about this if you get time. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.